Hello there, and welcome to the Star Citizen Beginner's Guide. This is part 2 in a series of videos that will teach you the basic fundamentals of the game Star Citizen. In this video, you will learn about the style of gameplay for Star Citizen and also how Star Citizen is different from other games. I want to start off by examining what genre of game Star Citizen is, because I think there is a lot of confusion out there. I get the impression lots of people think that Star Citizen is just a space simulator battle type game where all you do is fly around in your ship and you attack other players in their ships. Well, that is part of what Star Citizen is, but it is much, much more than that. So here is a list of all the different genres of game that are out there. So Star Citizen is a space simulator. For example, you're in your ship and you're traveling from Earth to the Centauri system via a jump point. A jump point is basically it's a wormhole in space that allows you to cover vast distances in a very short period of time. Let's say, for example, on the way to that jump point, you discover a abandoned alien spaceship. So you leave your ship, you go onto this ship to see if there's anything on that ship that you can loot and sell for money. Okay, so at this point, you're in a single-player mode of gameplay. Star Citizen is going to be a MMO style of game as well. So, for example, you might be involved in a huge epic battle between humans and an alien race over the control of a large planet down below. It's also going to be a PvE style of game in which you're interacting with NPC characters, or otherwise known as computer-generated AI characters. For example, you might be on a planet and you're in a weapon shop shopping for a new laser cannon for your ship. This shop is most likely going to be run by NPC characters. So you're down in that shop and you're browsing around at all the weapons, and an NPC character will walk up to you and ask if they can help you find what you're looking for. Now, the cool thing is that the NPC characters in Star Citizen are going to be very, very realistic and very, very intelligent. I mean, down to the point where the facial expressions on your character will affect how the NPC will interact with you. Oh, and what's really going to be cool is the NPC characters are going to be so realistic that the goal is, at least, that you won't be able to tell if you're interacting with an actual human player in the game or if you're interacting with an NPC character. Now that is going to be really cool. One of the parts that I'm looking forward to in particular are the first-person shooter aspect of Star Citizen. And based on the previews of what we've seen so far, it's going to be amazing. An example scenario would be something like you and your friends get together and you fly over to a space station and you board the station and you get into an epic battle and you take over that space station. But I will be discussing the first-person shooter aspect of the game in much more detail later on. Now, on this last one here, Star Citizen is not a role-playing game. And by this I mean there are no predetermined scripts. There's no preset storyline that your character has to follow. In fact, this brings up a very important point in that in Star Citizen, you create your own story based upon the adventures you have within the Star Citizen universe. Now, I know I've been describing these different styles of gameplay as like a different mode of gameplay, and I don't want to give the impression that these are like separate entities of the game. All these different modes of gameplay all occur seamlessly together. They're all woven together seamlessly. For example, you're not going to have loading screens. If you're familiar with the game Skyrim, when you open doors and you go into different buildings or different sections of the game will pause and it will have like a loading screen as the computer loads in the next section of the game. There won't be any of that in Star Citizen. Everything will be seamless. Now, overarching all these different modes of gameplay is the fact that Star Citizen is what is referred to as an open world game, or sometimes called a sandbox game. Now, if you're familiar with games such as Skyrim or Assassin's Creed, or of course the ever-popular Minecraft, then you're fairly familiar with what an open world or sandbox game is all about. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the concept of a open world style of gameplay, let me put a couple of diagrams on the screen here. Now, this first one here is what you would call a linear style of gameplay. This is something you would encounter in a RPG game, for example, where you have a storyline and you have a series of steps you have to go through that are predetermined in order to achieve a goal. You cannot alter from that path of action within the game. The diagram on the right illustrates how Star Citizen operates. As you can see, it's radically different from the first style, which again is a linear style of gameplay. Within Star Citizen, it's entirely open-ended as far as how you achieve your goals. Whether that goal is traveling from point A to point B, or your goal is starting your own interplanetary corporation. There is no preset manner in which you can achieve that goal. You can make up your own way. If you want to, you can have a certain goal in mind, and then when you get close to it, you can change your mind and you can pursue an alternate goal as well. So that is an example of an open world style of gameplay, which Star Citizen, thankfully, adheres to very, very nicely. There are a few ways in which Star Citizen is different than other typical open world style games. One of the most obvious ones is that in Star Citizen there is no such thing as experience points. Now, again, those of you familiar with Minecraft know what experience points are. As you battle monsters or you collect resources, you build up experience points, which you can use to enchant your armor or make upgrades to weapons and so on. Well, in Star Citizen, there's none of that. So instead of experience points, Star Citizen uses good old-fashioned free market capitalism, combined with a healthy sprinkling of supply and demand. Within the Star Citizen economy is a currency called United Earth Credits. Now, this is an in-game currency that you earn by going on various missions, engaging in piracy by stealing the UEC credits of other players, or starting your own interplanetary corporation, or what have you. It's basically limited only by your imagination on how you can earn a living within the Star Citizen universe. I think that is going to be pretty cool stuff. Another difference between Star Citizen and other open world style games is that there is not going to be any kind of griefing allowed within the game. For those of you who don't know what that means, basically griefing is harassing and annoying and intentionally killing other players. It fairly commonly happens with people who are brand new to a game, and the players who are much more experienced will hunt them down and kill them and take all their stuff. That is not going to be allowed within Star Citizen. And the way that's going to be controlled is by the government that rules the Star Citizen universe. At least that is in the human territories of the galaxy. And this government is called the United Empire of Earth. Now, they have a law enforcement arm called the Advocacy. And you could think of them as a interplanetary police force. And they're the ones who enforce the law in the more civilized region of human space. Now, at this point, you have a fairly general idea of what Star Citizen is all about. Now, in the next couple of videos, I will be going over the game in much, much more detail. So be patient, we're going to get there. And so this brings us to the end of the second video in this series. And now you should have a pretty good idea of the playstyle of Star Citizen. Just another layer of knowledge as we go along in these videos. And again, I would be really interested to know what you think of this second video in this series, and any feedback you wish to give would be greatly appreciated. And finally, if you would like for me to continue making Star Citizen videos, please show your support by subscribing to my channel by clicking on the link below. Until next time, this is Citizen Academy, wishing all of you fame and fortune in the verse.